This is little Sophia, with her mother and her father, and all three of them make one happy family. Now one day, when Sophia was doing her work in the living room like usual, she suddenly heard the man in the big TV made an announcement about the MCO. Sophia was excited. She was happy that she didn't have to go to school, and she couldn't just stop thinking about the places that her family could go and the things they could have done during this time period. Strangely enough, Sophia's parents didn't have the same reaction, as they looked quite stressed out and worried about the announcement that was just made over the TV. 2 months have passed by, and Sophia is currently doing her work in the living room like usual, when suddenly she heard shoutings coming from the kitchen. To Sophia's shock, it was her mother and her father arguing with one another. She couldn't make out what they were talking about, but it was something to do with something called a job loss. Sophia kept on listening to them, when suddenly Sophia now lives alone with her mother. She can't see her father anymore, and she stopped smiling ever since the incident has happened. All she wishes now is for everything to go back to how they were before. Hey there, I'm Amanisa, and the story of little Sophia that you just witnessed just now was one that was completely fictionalized, and yet the situation that took place in it was one that is completely realistic. Now here's a bit of a fun fact. Ever since the MCO has started, the WHO, or otherwise known as the Women's Aid Organization, has seen an increase of 148% in calls made to their hotlines. Now just to give you a better idea, in March alone there were only 351 calls made, but in April there were up to 898 calls made. Now the main cause of domestic violence is usually due to the fact that the abuser wants to exert power and control over the survivor of the case. Now the MCO could also influence this greatly due to the fact that the abuser aren't allowed to leave their home, could be facing financial risk, or just have a lack of social contact. The MCO also puts a burden on the survivors of domestic violence, as they are unable to create an escape plan and are forced to endure the abuse. Now here are 4 things you can do when you are caught in a domestic violence. Number 1, call the WAO helpline. Number 2, visit the one-stop crisis center. Number 3, you can obtain an EPO order. Number 4, you can make a police report. Now for more information, you can head on to the WAO website. We've reached the end, and I hope this video was helpful. And remember, there is always someone out there who cares for your situation. Thank you for listening.